Well, hello, good evening, good morning, good everything, wherever in the world you are, everybody. Welcome to Solutions with Aquarius Rising Africa yet again with our amazing guest, author, ex inmate. I don't want to call you a thief, it sounds terrible because that's something in your past, but you've had quite a checkered past, William Steele, of which you're blowing the whistle now. So, welcome back. How are you? You've just had quite an eventful little trip around the States, I see. So, how's it been going with you?
Right, I'm doing fine here. Thank you for having me back on. Yes, I
Mm.
did have quite an eventful trip. We went to South Florida for the first time since was incarcerated for a long time, and to do some filming and look into some other opportunities. And one of the main things that I did was go back to the scene of the crime, which you know that I wrote about in my book. About my relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine Sensational and Impure. You can see the link information. Um, so, as you know from having me on last time, I wrote this book shortly after I got released from prison. And it's about my relationship with her, but more so than that, it's about the horrible things that actually happened to me at the house in Palm Beach. Now, the
I
mansion
want
was
to
on
just, can I just, I would just like to chime in here if you don't mind. So, are you actually saying you had a relationship with Ghislaine, as in a regular kind of get together? I mean, obviously there was sexual stuff involved as well. I know we spoke about that briefly, but are you
right.
saying it was actually you had a relationship with her?
Right. I met her through Jeffrey Epstein, and she began confiding me about a few things, and we were fooling around on and off for several years. Um, I was never involved with any of the children, at the house, and I didn't really realize what was going on fully at the time. And once I started getting suspicious, I pulled back, and as I tried to report them, and nobody took it serious at the time. But so circling back around for your viewers who have read my book, um, you'll know that one of the last experiences at that house was really horrendous for me, at her hands and the hands of one of her female adult assistants, where I was drugged and restrained, and I was made an offer. I was wanted at the time, so I went to them for some assistance, and I didn't get assistance. What I got was abused, threatened, attempt to blackmail me, and her putting pressure on me to try to arrange for the murder of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, over time, I detail that in the book, that how that all played out, what exactly happened, and I basically had to say whatever I had to say just to get out of there with my life. Or if I wasn't going to disappear in that house somewhere forever, I really felt that I'd be going to jail that day because I was already a fugitive. She knew this, and all she would have to say is, "This is the time when, nobody really was believing anything was going on in this house." And so all they would have to say is, me, a prolific jewel and art thief, you know, was caught doing a burglary and maybe put my hands on somebody in that house, and I would never see the light of day if they did that. So I had to agree with whatever the hell she said at the time.
If um, I'd like to ask you, how long did you? I know you were going there on a quite a regular basis, kind of supplying them with whatever their needs were, whether it was drugs or jewelry or whatever. From our previous interviews, I'm interested to know if you're prepared to share with us at what point, after how long, months, years, weeks, whatever, did you and Ghislaine start getting physical with each other, like having a more intimate relationship? How did that begin? Because and I mean, it's interesting because, again, I know last time we were speaking about the whole grooming process that they were obviously putting you through as well. And it just seems to me what's obvious here is they knew you were a fugitive. Um, so, of course, they would have drawn you in because they knew that you would have obviously been quite vulnerable and maybe more susceptible to their manipulations. So, I'm just interested to know. And when you speak about, I know it's in your book, but for those of our viewers who haven't read your book, and I know obviously many things you can't give away, but can you be more specific? Can you give us more details also on what happened that particular day where you were tied up and drugged? So yeah, it's a couple of questions all in one.
I don't want to get into timelines too much. Here's why. A lot of this is still being litigated. There are other people going to be charged, from what I understand. So I don't want to get wrapped up in timelines where an attorney, for these pedophiles would say, well, didn't you say this date here and this date there? So I don't want to get really wrapped up too tightly on timelines that they can try to, misconstrue my lack of memory of events that happened very long time ago and exactly when they occurred and try to make me out to be a liar, because I've offered, to take a polygraph or whatever else they want to do. But, and there's proof, that I was at the house and I was with her, and I won't get into photographs yet, but let's just say that there's more things I'm being willing to reveal as we progress. Let's say it was many years ago, soon after I met Jeffrey, and I went to the house. He was not there. And, one time after I had been introduced to her, and she seemed like she had been drinking or something, and she was very distraught about something with him. And I don't remember what it was exactly, but as we were talking, I was comforting her, and it wasn't a romantic relationship like I had feelings for her. I was a young guy, doing a lot of illegal things, and it was just basically a situation where we had sex, and it developed into what I consider, and a screenwriter once said, in my situation with another person, became like a friendship of mutual usury. She wanted somebody, I guess, to bounce things off that weren't part of her inner circle, her circle of, now I know, I didn't know the extent of it then. She was evidently a very influential person in Britain and, in the UK. And in my case, I just thought she was a wealthy woman from Britain and young guy, I didn't have a big moral compass back then, why not be with her, and it's not easy talking about here. I have people in the room with me. It's a little embarrassing, but it is what it is. Guys do what they do. Women do what they do. Women are no angels, but I began to see it was more of a type of grooming me, because I was very grounded in what I will and will not do, and I won't mess with minors. And so as time progressed, I sensed, because of my background with alarm systems and surveillance cameras, that everything in this house was under surveillance. And it came true, obviously, in the media and all that, but from what videos Jeffrey ultimately showed me. So it seemed like she was always trying to lure me into a situation with threesomes, which I had threesomes with her and other adults at the house. But there was models coming and going, and there was these masseuses coming and going, and many of them looked underage. Some of them didn't even speak English. And when she would invite those women, after if I was interested, or, trying to have me have a conversation with them, I would, be very polite and bow out and, tell her privately, I said, they look kind of young. I don't know what you're into, but, it's a line I don't want to cross, because, I had already been in trouble with the law. I was actually a law clerk in prison. And I know that no matter how, tempting something is, there's still children, and people shouldn't be doing that with kids. I have kids. I don't want anybody touching my kids. So I said, they look very young, and I'm not into that. And, I like adult women. But it seemed like it was like more than one occasion she was trying to lure me into that situation. I think to ultimately blackmail me in some way to do favors for them. Come to find out, they didn't necessarily need me. They had evidently, and I learned this later, with various intelligence connections and, various very bad actors, working with them. And the more I come forward and tell the story, as we discussed before we went on the air, stranger and stranger things have begun happening to me. Now there's another thing I'm involved with, where there was a serial killer, a suspected serial killer, prolific con artist, who's threatened to kill me and a celebrity and some other people. And he's facing 120 years in prison. So in traffic the other day, we had somebody pull a gun on us, and I believe I barely escaped with my life. Anyway, the authorities are aware of all this. I monitor myself at all times. I keep tracking on myself at all times. I track myself. I'm not going to get into all my security precautions, but I'm also on video 24/7, even if I'm on the road. So nobody can safely make a false allegation or do something to me and expect that it won't be caught on multiple angles and transmitted live out. I just took all these precautions because of everything that's going on and everybody that I'm exposing now. So I guess that gets around your question a little bit, but to get the details, like you said, they can go read it in the book. And I am doing additional interviews. And I know we agreed to come back one more time after this one. I would feel more comfortable. I have a new TV show out now, as you know, on A&E Network. It airs August 18th at 10 p.m. They gave me a prime time slot. Now, this TV show is about holding down recidivism and the challenges that released prisoners face to find a place to live if they're not going to family. Significant from me. I didn't want to go near my family because they knew years ago I was involved with a lot of dangerous things. I carried guns. I even though I wasn't hurting anybody, I was a loner, so I would always put silencers, and that screams hitman and all this nonsense. It was never for me. It was just an image I put up so people wouldn't mess with me in the cocaine trafficking. So because they're afraid of me. Now, I've been in prison, 18 years, except for, when I escaped for a brief period. So I'm trying to really just avoid people and show them I'm on the right path to do the right thing. I don't pose anybody any threat except for these pedophiles who I know. I've seen some of the videos, and I pose a threat to no one else. Now, you guys know that I've written a book about Robert Durst. I knew him for a while. Wealthiest serial killer in American history. And I kid around now that I'm going to put something to have a set. I am evil is for good men to do nothing.
William?
By Edmund Burke. I put
William?
my book because I started off as that good man when I was a young man in my 20s, and I wanted to be a seal for the common good, within the boundaries of the law and all that nonsense. But you live and you learn. You get older and you learn. It's not always so crystal clear and and good. But I got derailed because a friend died. I started using some cocaine, so then I got involved with cocaine trafficking and.
It looks like William has a few connection problems. I know that we've kind of been losing. I've been breaking up. I've been hearing him break up for a little while now, so I'm wondering if he's going to tune in again. I hope so. So let's just give him a few minutes. But in the meantime, I'd just like to maybe talk about his story. I mean, this is actually quite crazy because what he's really saying is that he was he met Epstein at a party. Oh, actually not at a party. There was apparently some social gathering. And I'm just giving a recap for those of you who haven't maybe caught the first few recordings with him. And he noticed Epstein with his hand down a young girl's pants, sort of down the back of her pants. He then walked up to Epstein and challenged him. And from there, it turned out, that he would then go and become their jewelry and drug dealer. And over time, this is how he got into their lives. So he would obviously supply them with these things. And what he's saying now is that Ghislaine pretty much tried to organize that he'd do a hit on Epstein, to which he refused. That was when he was tied up and drugged and somehow abused. We don't really know the full story around that on here because it's still in his book, and I know that information is in the book. So I'm hoping that he's going to tune back in again. I don't know, Morné is in the back room. Maybe Morné can play us a pretty picture in the meantime or something. While we're waiting to see if William's going to tune in. I'm sorry, guys. We seem to be having gremlins with the sound at the moment. But if you guys could just be patient with a little bit, and then we're just gonna play an ad or so in the meantime with one of our sponsors at the moment, and then just see if William can tune in. I'm just gonna give him a call. So please be patient.
There's nothing man-made about it. Of course, there's a lot of care that needs to go in and processing that needs to go through linen years and years and years. And it just actually, it's kind of like a good wine. It
gets better with age. Hey guys. Okay, it seems like we still have some problems with William. He can't log back in. So I'm going to suggest that we log out, but please be patient with us. I'm not sure what's going on. We are well aware that he's being targeted at the moment, from what he was saying early on as well. Lots of weird things have been happening. So this could well be one of those situations. We know how these guys work when it comes to this. Obviously, he's blowing whistle on high level people right now. So we can expect. So I think please just keep an eye on your new stream just to see, because I'm going to try, obviously, and wait for him. And we're going to try and log back in again later, the minute he's back online again. But we will keep you posted. So please just keep an eye on the community post as well, because we'll let you know there. So, Morné, if you can let us flow out here, that'll be awesome. I've got Morné in the back room. This is so fun.